have the pledge of allegiance. Alderman Gardner's going to lead us in prayer. Okay. The clerk will do roll call.
County Vidalia Board of Aldermen roll call for the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen dated December 11th, 2018. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderwoman Dorey.
Present.
Alderman Gardner.
Here.
Alderman McCoy.
Present and accounted for.
Alderman Probst.
Present.
Mayor, let the record show Foreman is present.
Okay. Before you have the minutes of our last regular meeting and of the previous meetings, are there any questions on any of those meetings?
Yes, previously I had requested that there be a phrase added into the minutes referencing the video. You were going to check on that?
Have not got a response yet.
Any other questions?
I move that we accept the minutes.
Motion made by Alderman McCoy to hear a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. First item on our agenda is going to be to review the financial statements for October 2018 and our CPA, Ms. Deborah Moak.
Okay, first of all, the balance sheet is as of October 31st, 2018, and we're showing that we have a total of $4.1 million in cash. We have $2.3 million in investments. We have $33 million in total assets. We have $7.4 million in liabilities. The fund balance is presently at $25.6 million, on the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the 4 months ending October 31st, we have total revenues of $17 million, total expenditures of $14.3 million, and a change in net position of $2.6 million. I have also provided in the financials budget to actual comparison as of October 31st, which does show that we end up with a 2.6 for change in fund balance at the end of October. The department heads have all received the budget to actual comparison, and anything other under the 67%, which is where they should be at this point in time, has been brought to their attention. I have discussed with some of the department heads their budgets, requesting some coding changes, and I just wanted to let y'all know that they're being more proactive in the budget analysis. The budget is actually making everyone aware of where they are at this point, which is one of the advantages of having a budget. I have, the mayor and I are going to move $1.5 million from the sale of the industrial property from the industrial park into the general fund. It will be put in a CD, and this will help build the general fund's fund balance up to where we'll get out of that negative position. And I also wanted to mention that Silas Simmons has completed their audit, and their report should be available soon. And that's
Okay, that's a good report, Deborah. One of the things I would like to say is that looking through this, that we're right on target. You know, with just this last meeting, I'm thankful that we did get our budget adopted. I'm thankful for that. And based on that, it looks like the departments are doing a good job of managing their expenses, and we're actually running under expenses to what we expected, which is a good thing. So they're doing a good job of managing what they spend, and so we'll just try to keep a good close tabs on that as we go forward. So any questions from council?
Can we get a monthly update or reporting on the money being held in trust by Natchez Inc.? Also, the
I don't have that information. I don't know if Heather would have that or not. I don't do any of those transactions.
They'll have that, but I can get that, and I'll have that for the next meeting. So.
And we have received the first note payment from Vidalia Denim that was due December 1st. We received that also today of $95,000. Yeah, which there's 4 more payments,
Okay.
annual payments.
Any other questions? Okay, going on to our occupational license. We have, first up, we have Barry Richardson, which is Craws, Claws, and Tails LLC, and I think Barry's here tonight. He's applying for his occupational license. And Barry, would you like to stand up and tell us a little bit about your business? We appreciate you coming to Vidalia.
Thank you all very much. It's actually gonna be more or less like a bowling house for crawfish, crabs, shrimp, and stuff like that. And we're also gonna have a part of it gonna be a small seafood market. And, we'll be opening up, hopefully in the middle of February. And we're at 304 Carter Street, which is right before the bridge.
Okay. Tell them some more about yourself. I mean, you were the original
Cajun
entrepreneur
special.
of Cajun Specialty Meats, is that correct?
Me and Greg Poole, we were
Okay.
partners in that business. Started about 11 years ago.
Okay.
And I moved out of that business, and I've been in the crawfish business for about 20 years in Carter Parish. And I've also branched out into Catahoula Parish with a lot of property over there, so I produce a lot of crawfish.
Yeah.
So,
So how many pounds a year would you say you did? Sorry. Just-
400,000.
Wow.
So I can supply myself, and I can give a good price to everybody. Take care of that.
Well, that's good. Look, we're excited that you picked Vidalia, and we feel excited about our future and glad you're going to be a part of it.
I've been
So,
eager to do this, I've been wanting to do it for a few years.
yeah.
I found a good partner to help me with this.
A sign ordinance, so you're going to be doing turning in a sign ordinance later?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Okay.
You're constructing a building, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go before the planning commission on that building?
I
Yes,
took care of all the avenues I had to.
He's gone through the inspector that does it. I mean, Larry
Okay.
Elders. No, they've inspected the plans and went through all the
Gotcha.
process, so.
I make the motion to accept.
Okay, motion made, second by Alderman Gardner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good.
Thank y'all very much.
Okay. Okay, secondly, we've got the Dollar Tree, which I'm gonna let Jay explain a little bit about the occupational license on the Dollar Tree of how we got to this part. It's kind of interesting, so Jay, go ahead and just give them a little bit of background on.
Well, I know y'all noticed the building is almost done, but that building was actually constructed under an agreement with the property owner, Kimball and Company. And they had an agreement with Dollar Tree Corporation, with the parent company. Certain benchmarks had to be reached, and before actually the company would take over the operation and the lease. So that actually took place just yesterday. They went online. That's why this application that the board has looks a little differently. The company went online with, the state has a website, and the parish is part of it, and they filed their occupational license online. So they're planning, I believe, to open around January 25th. So that's why this is a little late getting started as far as the company was concerned. So actually, Kimball and Company they took it on themselves, had the liability. They had to make sure that they reached their thresholds and benchmarks on construction and so forth. And they're the ones actually, they were the ones who put up the pole sign, wasn't Dollar Tree. So it's a little different, situation on how they finally reached this point, so.
Is that why there was a camera on that pole out by Carter Street? Did anybody notice that there was a camera?
There's
there's
several
several
cameras
out there.
actually.
Yeah, and so I guess that's why they were kind of making sure they were meeting the benchmarks as it went. I had never seen that before. Neat.
Okay,
I make the motion to accept.
motion made by Alderman Dory, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Alderman McCoy, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There's not being any outdoor sign applications, we will move to item number 4 on the agenda, which is the liquor and beer license applications. You have that list in front of you. Are there any questions?
What is pending?
Those are ones that at the time had not submitted their fee, but Danny's Restaurant Lounge has paid. The only one that's has not is Agave.
I move that we accept all, once all fees have been paid.
Well, have we moved from, some of them used to pay twice a year. They used to pay the front part. It's all or nothing now? You remember that?
I don't know.
He does.
I don't.
Well, there were some that had the option of paying half a year, but I think for the last
And
2
Danny's
years,
was actually
they've not done that.
I think it's all been.
They're paying the full, everybody's paying the full amount.
But Danny's has paid theirs, he said. Agave is the only one that hasn't, is that correct?
Who was last? last year.
Did they, did Agave turn in an application or just,
I believe they got the application turned in, but they're waiting, they're holding off on their decision on whether they're gonna do this or not.
Okay. Motion is accepted dependent on the payment, so.
Well, let's go ahead and cut a guave out. We accept them all. Her motion was pending, and you said Dennis has already taken care of the obligation.
They paid, and the application is submitted on Agave, it's just, we're just waiting on their fee, which is due by December 31st.
They got,
But we won't meet again unless we have a special
The
meeting.
motion is to accept them once all fees are paid. If they fail to meet the December
Then they
31st
would be
guideline,
granted.
then they're out.
Right,
Right.
in there.
By their own
Exactly.
fault, not ours.
okay, I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to number 5, is the board consideration for approval of the proposed new hire for the Vidalia Police Department, just Thomas Tarver as a full-time dispatcher. Any questions on that from the Alderman to, I see
Is there a police department representative in here?
Frank here.
Oh, there you, I'm sorry, I didn't see. No,
Y'all have
you're
any
just so
questions?
quiet today.
Y'all have any questions of Frankie?
How many dispatchers do we currently have without Mr. Tarver?
3.
And you need 4 on rotation?
4 on rotation. Right now, I think up a lot of overtime, so I'm having to fill that position.
Yeah, I've seen you sitting there for a while. Yeah,
Well,
okay.
you know, this is a pretty good guy. He's a veteran. He's still active in the Army National Guard. He's done a couple tours in Afghanistan. Currently, he's working part-time for AMR as EMT, and out of the application that we had, we just felt like he would be the perfect for the job.
yeah, I talked to Chief Merrill, and this is within his budget for next year. It's not an increase.
I move to accept.
Okay, motion made by Alderman Dory. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 6 on our agenda, and this is the last item we've got on. Discussion of funds transferred from Delta Region Community Foundation to Point Man International Ministries of the Miss Lou. I'm going to give you a little background with this. Several years ago, the city invested, and you can call it seed money, and I'm going to let council explain more about it because he's done a lot of research on it as well. Money into an account that was set aside for different, for lack of a better word, projects, community projects. And the money sat in the account for several years, and we were brought these the bank statements on that money because it was a setting island of bank, United Mississippi Bank. And the account, the heading of the account was Delta Regional Community Foundation. And the town actually provided that check for seed money for this foundation. Of course, it never was spent, and we were presented with bank statements on it. And so we took it, and we wanted to do the legal thing with it. And since it was a foundation, we turned it over to council as well as to the legislative auditor, and to get a ruling on it, what to do with the money, and so forth. I'm going to let council pick up with his investigation on it and where we're at and why we're here tonight to discuss this money.
Thank you, Mayor. The $5,000 funds in the United Mississippi Bank, I think so, yeah, had been there for quite some time, and when this administration took office, the legislative auditor came in and discovered that these funds were there and the town could not find backup for it, so the legislative auditor says you got to check it out. Moving forward, I've been dealing with this since about August of 17. At the present time, Mr. McAllister is here representing the Point Man International Ministries, which I understand is the entity which will be actually doing the construction of the Vietnam War Memorial. In discussion with the mayor and staff, we thought that that's a good thing. And so Mr. McAllister has offered to pay the town back that money, which is gonna make the legislative auditor happy with us. And then we would, at that time, if it's the board's decision that they would like to use that $5,000 to help with that Vietnam Wall project, then we can do a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Point Man Industries and fund them with $5,000 for that project. In the cooperative endeavor agreement, there's language that the legislative auditor strongly suggests, and in essence, it turns a donation into a quid pro quo transfer. We have to cite the reasons: increased tourism, patriotism, an asset for the town, help with the parks and those kinds of things. And with that language, the legislative auditor is happy, and so we can achieve the same result, so the money goes to the Vietnam project. Question?
One of the things to clarify, that some of the people might know, how did Point Man Ministries wind up with it out of the foundation? When we approached some of the signers that was on the account, could they write a check back to the town? They wrote the check to Point Man Ministries for the wall, which I have no problem with. But Point Man Ministries wanted to make sure that they were doing the right thing, want us to make a decision with it to, would they deposit to their account and then write us a check back and then us do something with it. And so that's one of the things that we want to do, because we're in support, of course, of a project of that nature. But we also want to make sure we're legal with it, make sure it don't enter into the realm of a donation. So that's where we're at with it. And we wanted to make sure he feels comfortable with it, and also that the funds were properly handled. Because it is on the legislative auditor's radar, we want to make sure it's handled properly. So that being said, any questions?
Is this the Point Man Ministries out of Ventris?
Ma'am,
Is this Point Man Ministries out of Ventris, Louisiana?
I'm sorry.
On the Secretary of State's website, it does list Point Man Ministries, but it shows that it's inactive.
No, ma'am, it should be, that we reinstated it as a 501c3.
Okay,
At one time, it did become inactive, but it has been reinstated.
it has been. Okay,
I'm sorry,
good.
I didn't hear you.
That's okay.
This is Doug McAllister. He is, tell him your position, Doug, with Point Man Ministries.
I'm the outpost leader for Point Man International Ministries of Miss Lou, and have been since, I don't know, going back to probably 05 or 07. Point Man International Ministries is exactly that. It is an international ministry. Was founded in '86, I believe. It is by and for veterans. It's not limited to just veterans, but their families, their spouses, as they are impacted by the veterans service. If you have to pick just one thing about Point Man Ministries, it could be the fact that there's a 1-800-877-VETS number, VET toll-free number, that when a veteran calls that number, a veteran answers the phone 24/7. And that's pretty important in the veterans community, because it's so often it's just important to the veteran that he talks to a veteran, someone that relates to what it is that may be bothering or troubling him. And we're all big folks here, and we can look at the real world and look it in the eye, but I would not hesitate to tell you that there's 22 veterans died by suicide every day. So the magnitude and the significance of what we're talking about here cannot be overstated. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, board members, for looking at this in a broad perspective. The one thing we would like to accomplish, Mr. Mayor, is we want it to be tabletop transparent, so everybody can be 110% behind this project. It's a project that will impact both our communities in Louisiana and Mississippi, and needs to say, I'm sure the outcome of it would be positive in terms of economic impact and tourism. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Doug. Any questions?
When do you anticipate the construction?
Once we make well, let me cover the cost. First of all, this wall will cost $300,000. It'll be an 80% scale replica of the wall in Washington. It was 272 feet long. It's 8 feet tall at the apex. The construction of it, once we have accrued $50,000 in funding, we actually place the order for our wall, and 6 months later, that wall will be available to be installed. And of course, our challenge is going to be to generate the funding necessary, not just for the wall, but for the infrastructure that will be required. We would anticipate at least some in-kind type of support, and we have families. One of the things that we anticipate a great response from, or there will be a plaque, a memorial, if you would, for families who donate $1,000 to support our wall. And we've gotten a response from that already, with just merely mentioning it, talking about it just in a very superficial manner. Once we've made this transaction, we'd like to make an official launch, if you would, and establish a date to break ground and begin the construction. Anything else?
Will it be comparable to the wall that came before, just the visiting wall?
The traveling wall is what he's talking about?
Yes, sir. The wall we had here in 2015.
Right.
Was on the riverfront, right on this side of the party wall. As a matter of fact, that was an 80% scale replica. It'll be one of those, very much like that, not exact, but pretty close, and it will be a permanent installation.
Any other questions?
Yeah, is the area where it was in 2015, is that the area that you still?
Yes, sir, we would like to put it there. It made a really nice venue.
It did.
And thanks for asking that question. I've not seen the wall in Washington, but I've talked to dozens, perhaps hundreds of people who have seen it. And the one thing that these people always mention is the air of peace, and tranquility, and serenity. And it's pretty hard to beat that atmosphere as we had it down there for 2 weeks back in 2015. People were very relaxed coming, even late in the evening, some at night even. But it is a great venue to have such a memorial. And it would be the proper place, I believe.
Yeah.
And we had discussed that and agreed upon it in a memorandum of understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have seen the wall, Doug, and believe it or not, I know that people are on there, ones that were killed in action, but your name's on it. You have, somebody has your name, it's on there, I've seen it.
No Dickey, no Washington. No, sir.
I know, it's not, there's another Doug McAllister, what I'm telling you.
Really?
Yes, it is.
No, sir.
Because I saw it, and I was going like, I thought it was just people who had passed, I said, I know this guy, but your name's on that wall.
But Mr. Mayor, I will mention this. The thing that motivates me to be a part of this project is the mere fact that my name's not on that wall.
Right.
But for the unmerited favor of God, it would have been any number of times. Thank you.
Do we need to, we'll need to do some sort of land donation or something like that? Like, what's the process of that?
We don't know what's been done as far as that, granting of that position. I know Alderman McCoy and Alderman Betts were here during that time that was discussed. I don't know if anything's officially been done. It's something we'd have to revisit if it's not been something, because
It has not. It just happened to be the easiest place and the best place at that particular time, and that was before all of its growth on the riverfront.
Right.
There may be a better spot.
Yeah. Now, one of the things, Doug, just for information, that riverfront has a riverfront authority that has a live say-so and authority to what goes where and get approvals. So it's not just this council that's going to have to make a call on locations and what or if or things of that nature. It's also going to involve this authority or this committee. So it's something. There's a couple more things we got to coordinate. Now, our decision tonight to make is do we want to enter to a CEA with Point Man Ministries to enter that? Otherwise, if you just give them a check, it's a donation. But spelling out what the benefit or economic benefit would be for this. And the other thing is do you, as far as depositing it to you would have to get some approval from your people to write that check back to the town or something. Is that right, council?
Correct.
Did you cash the check?
Ma'am?
Did you cash the original check?
No,
No, ma'am.
he still got it.
I don't have it.
Did you get a copy of it? You got a copy of it?
I'm wondering why he's gotta give it back if he never cashed.
It's probably,
Just hand it.
it's money in the account, not just a check, it's money in the account.
It's a check.
I'm excited. I move that we accept. And-
I'm totally on board with it. Again, we just need to follow whatever the legal protocol is. And, I will simply send a memo to Point Man International Ministries President and say, this is what we received, this is what we need to do, and just.
And I can tell you that we will put it, once we receive that, we will put it on the agenda to officially do a CEA and pass it back before this board for approval. And is that the feelings of the council? Any other feelings other than that, or?
I mean, can we go ahead and, the CEA has not been written,
No.
is that true?
That's
Okay.
correct. I think there's some things we need to.
But council is really up to speed on how it needs to go, and he's way ahead of us on this one.
Right.
So, by next
Done a bunch of
meeting,
research on this one, so.
by next meeting, you think we could get,
I believe so, yes.
okay.
The only reason is I know you came and talked to us about this and presented it to us, I think one of our first meetings in office, and I'm excited to get it moving. Because didn't you say that no one else can have anything like this for, was it 300 miles?
Within a 250-mile radius.
Right.
There would not be another one of these walls
Yeah.
within a 250-mile radius of this community.
Yeah.
And I would hurry to say too, Mr. Mayor, that once this wall has been built, the funding has been put in place, the wall constructed, we've had a grand opening, everybody says I'm glad to be a part of that. Point Man Ministries has no ongoing interest in that whatsoever. Any interest that we have is only to facilitate the funding and the construction of the wall, and at that point, that we have no further interest in it. And, we cannot have as a nonprofit, nor do we intend to, but the committee that you mentioned, we respectfully request that maybe we could have a veteran's presence on that committee, if that would be acceptable.
To-
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
would y'all consider another location like up here in Town Complex? That out of the way, it's allowed the way down there. I know it's quiet and serene, but people that stop by my house all the time looking for the tourist center. They couldn't find the tourist center.
That's a good point. I think that's something that since there's not been anything that we know officially done that's been established for that, I think it would be something that would, certainly, we would be willing to work with them on trying to find a suitable spot that was satisfactory to all the residents. And those are all good ideas. I think we should pursue those and look at the pros and cons for each and every one of those locations and go from there with it. I think that's a good point, though. Do we need any action? Require no action, just, so Doug, I guess the ball's in your court. Is, you make sure you make things right with Point Man Ministries on handling the check and I guess giving back to the town those funds, and then we'll draft the CEA and then move forward with
We
what.
don't need anything? We don't need.
And if anything comes up in the meantime, we'll certainly contact you. And
If I don't say anything, the minutes are gonna reflect that after this discussion, it was a consensus of the board,
That we
that we accept the money back and that we proceed to do a cooperative endeavor agreement.
Correct.
Which would be satisfied by both parties.
Okay. All right, any further questions?
Are
Okay,
you
that
gonna have the utility rates on the January meeting?
plan on it. That's the plans on having that. So what Ms. Dore is talking about, I want to invite you back. The next meeting we have is going to be very important. We want to have a comprehensive utility rate ordinance for you, which will address all of our utilities. So excited about that. And so Merry Christmas, and wish all of you a blessed, happy New Year. So
Can we also, I'm sorry, I did not
That's
mean
all
to
right.
cut you off, I
No.
apologize. Can we also, we're having the fireworks show for New Year's Eve again this year at 6 o'clock. Thank you for the donation. Town of Vidalia did donate to the Vidalia Beautification Committee to have that done. But it will be fireworks on the river, or New Year's Eve at 6 p.m. So we're bringing it back again this year. That's it.
They're gonna go off at 6 o'clock?
They're gonna go off at 6 o'clock. That way everybody can see the fireworks, go to dinner, have their parties, and the kids aren't out in the freezing temperatures late at night. So we just decided to do it at 6 o'clock. So,
Good deal. Okay, good deal. Can I hear a motion we adjourn?
I make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman McCoy, second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor?
aye.
Are we adjourned? Thank you.